started Booktube almost 3 years ago, the way we read looked a little different. We often didn't think about the books we were reading, but just read them for fun. We've taken a bit of a different approach, and the way we read has changed over time.
We wanted to look at the differences and analyze how that has changed us and affected our reading lives. We are going to bring up 4 points in this video. 1. What has changed?
2. How that has changed us.
3. Our thoughts.
And 4. Why we made this video.
The first thing that we thought of is that we talk about books a lot more than we ever have. Before, we never really talked about books to anyone, we just read them for fun. We didn't really talk to each other much or talk to anyone else.
Forcing ourselves to talk about books has really actually made us think about them, and at least for me, I would kind of read something and have some kind of idea of whether I liked it or not, but no reason why. I didn't make myself think about these things, and now that we have done it so regularly, it's become a lot more natural for us.
We've also wanted to branch out with our videos, which has caused us to read different genres than we're used to.
But because we've wanted to document our reading experiences through our videos, we found that we read both more and less because of that.
And because we've gotten a little more used to talking to the camera about books, that has actually made us talk to each other more.
And it has also kind of given us the desire to write more reviews and to just be more used to sharing our ideas about the books we're reading.
Talking about books has gotten us out of our comfort zones and forced us to give our opinions.
Like we said before, we would just really never talk about books, and now that we have gotten used to that, it's actually helped us in more ways than just books. We have gotten better at just sharing our opinions in general, and I've seen how that has just made me a little more confident and able to express my own ideas.
It's definitely changed me because talking to anyone in any aspect is definitely out of my comfort zone. And so having to actually think of something to say to someone that I don't know about a book that I've read it was really hard in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And we're nowhere near as good as we would like to be, and it's still a skill that has to be honed and learned, but as we do it more regularly, it becomes more part of your day-to-day life. And this has caused us to think more about what we're reading, which has really forced us to take mental notes and analyze what we like and what we don't like, and what we truly think about what we're reading as we are reading and through that process.
Before, we definitely had opinions about the books we read, but it wasn't always clear what they actually were. Like, we were like, I like this book, I don't like this one, but we didn't know the reason why. And taking a step back and trying to figure out, like, taking the notes as we read has really made us kind of learn what we actually like and don't like. Because we pick books for videos that we wouldn't normally read, that has really expanded our palettes and helped us to discover books we didn't know we'd like.
Because we're actually sharing about the books that we're reading, we don't want to be so redundant in our recommendations and in what we're reading. It has really caused us to want to try new things and to not just pick up what we would normally be drawn to. And making these videos really makes us want to read and get back into it more than we would, but it also limits the amount of time that we have to read.
That has been one of the hardest things that we've struggled with in making these videos. We want to read to read and also to have something to share, but it really does take a lot of time away because we have to either film what we're reading or choose to video instead of actually just reading a book.
But now that we've really been in this community of books and have really found the joy of sharing them and wanting to talk about them, it really spurs us on to spend that extra time reading. And seeing everyone else reading has just really inspired us to do it more than we might normally do.
And then when we're reading a book for a specific video and we have a certain amount of time to read it in, it really makes us read more because we have to finish the book to finish the video. And talking together about books has really helped us to find the joy and fun in reading.
And also we found out a lot of things about the way that we read from talking to each other. A lot of our opinions on books were explored kind of in the way that we've talked to each other and had tons and tons of conversations about books and all that we're reading and all that we've read before. And it's been a big way that has grown our relationship and also grown our love for books as well.
And it's become an almost everyday thing for us to ask each other about what we're reading and what's happening in the books. And it's just really fun to just be able to let loose and just get excited about what we're reading and talk to each other. And we don't have to be professional or concise and just have fun talking to each other about what we're reading.
And since we started writing a lot more reviews since we started Booktube, it's really gotten us in the habit of quickly and concisely coming up with our thoughts in a hopefully helpful way. I kind of get a little rambly with my reviews, but they've really helped me pinpoint the few main points that I want to make in a hopefully understandable way.
So in Booktube and social media, we've kind of felt like we've had to hype the books we read or the books that we like a little more than normal.
Yeah, especially if I think that there's a possibility that an author might see it, if they're a smaller author or something, then I really just don't want to say anything bad. And we definitely share our opinions. We don't shy away from saying the bad things, but I feel like sometimes we'll want to really just emphasize points that we might not necessarily agree with.
Yeah, and kind of make the book sound better
than
we actually thought it was. And it also can sometimes change the way we rate books.
We just kind of have this fear that, like, if we liked a book a lot and someone else didn't, we shouldn't give it as high of a rating. Or if we didn't like a book that everyone seemed to love, it's just
kind of like, it kind of raises the rating a little bit because we're like, well, everybody else liked it. So it's, there's got to be something good even though we didn't really like it.
Or even with each other sometimes. Like, if I really liked a book and she didn't, or the other way around, it just kind of affects the way that we want to rate it.
And because, like, sometimes maybe the really popular books we didn't really like, it kind of makes us feel like our standards are too high.
Yeah.
We have, like, we only like these perfect, amazing books or something.
I've always wondered, like, what's wrong with me? Like, everyone loved this and I just didn't. And then it makes me feel like, I don't know, like, I just like these amazing things when that's not necessarily true. It's just I have different opinions.
But there's also so many good things about being in the book community. It definitely gives us a lot of recommendations and...
Yeah, and it's definitely, like, shaped the way I've read, I think. Most of the books I read are because of what other people have said, and I found a lot that I've really, really enjoyed because of that.
And also for, like, me, it's helped me find smaller authors because there's been a lot of books that I never would have read without having seen other people's reviews or...
Yeah. And it just makes you feel like you're not, like, on your own looking for all these books. You can go to someone else to find similar tastes and find someone who likes the same things as you. And it's just brought a lot of things to our lives that we didn't really foresee would happen. We also wanted to talk a little bit about why we decided to make this video and to talk about these things. For one, we just wanted to reflect on what's changed because we never would have thought of these things if we hadn't chosen to make this video and really stopped to think about what is different.
We also wanted to just share our experience, share how Booktube has changed us, and to give a look into what our journey has been.
We're definitely not, like, giving advice necessarily or saying that this is anywhere near what anyone else has gone through, but we thought it would be a good way to just stop and think about the effect that these things can have on us and just see all of the pros and cons.
We spent a lot of time talking to each other about this topic, and we really hope that it gave you some good information. We hope you enjoyed watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.